to stand here for the third time as portfolio holder for Education and Health to give my annual report to the Chamber. Madam Mayor, I've always felt a great responsibility for the position that I hold. There can be no greater honour than going through the Thurrock education system than to end up as the Cabinet Member for Education, and no greater pleasure than to see the local health system look after your loved ones and then to become the Cabinet Member for Health. We've all just been through a tough election, and that just strengthens my resolve to do everything I can to use this position to strengthen the education and health system for all the people that we all serve. So, Madam Mayor, 2 years on, and where are we? We're building 3,500 new good or outstanding school places. More children than ever before got their first choice of school last year. We've gone from 2 GPs in 2016 who were rated good to 21 today. Children's Centre reform has saved us millions of pounds while increasing the registration of eligible children by 6%. Also, the amount of sessions delivered in our revamped children's centres has increased by a massive 34%. Truly fewer buildings and better services. Madam Mayor, we've made pendant alarms for the elderly free, taken young care leavers out of council tax, saved the East Tilbury Medical Centre, saved the Harris Riverside Preschool project. Over 90% of our schools are good or outstanding, and Madam Mayor, between us and partners, we are spending a grand total of £150 million on new education and health estates. Madam Mayor, this is a record that I am proud of, delivered by a team of officers in the council and partners in our schools and NHS, of whom I'm also extremely proud. We have got an amazing foundation to build on, and this is now what we're going to do. We're going to break the problem of fragmentation in the system. Fragmentation lets people down, especially in regards to mental health. Recently we held a mental health summit with 100 partners from schools and from health providers, and soon we are going to launch a brand new and united approach to strengthen the mental health system within our schools. Child mental health problems today don't need to become adult mental health problems tomorrow. We can fix this, and we're going to. We're going to lead the nation when it comes to mental health in schools. Secondly, Madam Mayor, we're building, and we're building big and fast. Local government sitting on capital reserves doesn't do anyone any favours, but that's not what we're doing. For example, because we provided capital support combined with support from the Gateway Learning Community and from Department for Education funds, we are totally rebuilding the Pioneer School in Tilbury, one of the worst collection of school buildings in the borough, thoroughly neglected for decades, and we are going to entirely regenerate it in one of our most deprived communities. That is a £6 million gift for the children of Tilbury. Building that type of ambition is how we're going to attract people to come here to work and live and be a part of the Thurrock success story. And finally, Madam Mayor, we need to do everything we can to cement our place in the Thames Gateway. We need to lead and not follow. Take health reform. Colleagues marvel at how well the Council and NHS partners have worked together, not just to deliver our first wave of integrated medical centres to the planning stage to bring acute and primary care together, but we're now talking about a second wave to look at what more services we can get out of hospitals and into the community and mental health services. I don't just want us to deliver the 4 AMCs. I want us to start talking about numbers 5, 6 and 7. We need to be borough leading the arguments because we are quickly cementing ourselves as the innovation capital of the Thames Gateway. Madam Mayor, finally, what I would say is I'm absolutely delighted that so many members have contacted me and noticed the intentional spelling mistakes in the report this evening. They were intentionally inserted in there by myself to ensure that all members were doing their homework and reading the paper. I am delighted that this boy has worked so successfully. And with that, Madam Mayor, I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much, Councillor Howden. In the absence of Councillor Holloway as Chair of ONS, I will ask Councillor Gearish, do you want to pose a question or to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I do thank the portfolio holder for his report. And I think while there are some things we disagree on, I think we would all agree that we want to see continued improvement for the schools in Thurrock and to see the achievement that we are moving towards over the last 6 or 7 years, I think is a real step forward for Thurrock. Madam Mayor, I think the portfolio holders' reports are often characterised by what they don't contain rather than what they do contain. And one thing that I didn't see was any reference to any areas of education overspend. Could he outline any areas within his budget, particularly for education, that did overspend, and any mitigation measures that were subsequently implemented?
Councillor Howden?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I'm actually delighted to say that the overspend in the DSG that I inherited from you, I've now closed. So that's a very important point. Funding in our schools is up 3.4 million in the last financial year. And overall, we are spending circa £70 million building brand new estates. And what I would say is, one of the situations that this administration inherited was an outrageous situation where schools were encouraged to take gold years and they never got the associated capital to help them expand. I visited East Tilbury Primary, one of the best primary schools in the borough, and the size of the school, the facilities, they were just inadequate. That's why this administration put several millions of pounds into East Tilbury Primary to give them the expansion that they needed. So far from cutting, this administration is heavily investing in our future. And more to the point, if I can just labour on the DSG overspend that I inherited from the party opposite, we haven't cut the budget. The budget envelope remains the same. The reality was it was overspent for years and years. What we've done is by putting out a inclusion unit model, so helping young people stay in mainstream education, we are avoiding the expensive out-of-borough placements. So the fact of the matter is, it's not a matter of budget cuts, it's a matter of making sure the entire system lives within its means. I think that it is something Councillor Gerrish would welcome, and it's something this administration has delivered.
Thank you very much. Councillor Spielman, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think when we all think about Councillor Howden, one word comes to mind, it's modesty, isn't it? It's honesty. It's definitely modesty, isn't it? I mean, this report, you would think that we live in an education and health utopia in Thurrock. And we may in the future, but we certainly don't now. Now, I know that Councillor Howden is a very reflective chap, so if he could just tell us, what are the three things in his portfolio that aren't going so well, and what does he intend to do about them?
Councillor Howden, would you like to respond, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, obviously, building the 4 new health hubs that were never built under the last administration, that's taken myself and Councillor Gottram more time than we would have liked, but we're going to see at least 2 planning applications to planning this summer, so that's kind of a tick. In terms of other things I don't think are going as well as they should have done, if you look at the system we've got nationwide, nowhere in the country have we got a perfect model of mental health services. That is why this borough is leading the argument, and that is why, united with our schools and with our health practitioners, we are soon going to be launching a brand new mental health service within our schools to strengthen the entire piece. And in terms of what's not going particularly well, we are a reflective administration, and I think what I'd point out to you that spending £6 million to rebuild the Pioneer School in Tilbury and also stepping in and saving the East Tilbury Medical Centre shows one thing. It doesn't matter if it is in a UKIP health ward or a Labour ward. If this administration sees something that's not going well, this administration intervenes. That's what we did in Tilbury, that's what we've done in East Tilbury, and that's what we're going to keep on doing.
Thank you very much. Move on to members now. Councillor Martin Kerrion.
Thank you for this report, Councillor. You're right to congratulate the 94% of schools that are good or outstanding. With this in mind, has an impact assessment been made about the effect that a grammar school would have on the existing schools that we have within our borough?
I think the impact assessment is probably the amount of Labour Party front benchers that send their children to grammar schools. That sounds like a compliment. Yes. Well, point out to Councillor Kerry, yes, over 90% of our schools are good or outstanding. We're building 3,500 more good school places, so that is a terrific foundation on which to build. Yes, I'm pro-grammar school because I believe in a pluralistic system. The more competition you have in the market, that healthy competition drives up standards. That's why this administration is adamant that we are going to get our hands on a fair chunk of that £50 million to expand good grammar schools, and that's why we're hoping to roll out a formal working relationship with the grammar school in Essex very, very shortly. And you may wish to take a leaf out of your colleagues' books, and if you want to put one of your own children forward for a grammar school place counsellor, I'll quite happily write a letter of reference.
Thank you, Councillor Howden. Councillor Okanadi, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Irving, for your report. The Council has a statutory responsibility to meet the needs of permanently excluded pupils from both maintained and non-maintained schools in the borough. You briefly highlighted on page 66 of your report that there have been some significant changes in how primary pupils who are permanently excluded are supported. My question is, could you tell us if the Council is adequately meeting its statutory responsibility, in that what are the number of children needing support, and how many places are currently available in the primary inclusion units for those vulnerable young children, and to ensure they are all receiving their full education and attention? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Howden. Will you respond, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, first of all, it's worth pointing out that fixed term exclusions are down. Year 2016, we were talking about 450. In 2011, it was over 1,000. So we are making progress. It's obviously a very, very tough situation. The reason we launched the inclusion units, which are 5 units catering for about 6 students apiece, is because we believe that there is simply no good reason that children at primary school age should permanently be expelled and sent to a separate institution. Children belong in schools, and that is the model that we are working on and we are actually building with our schools at the moment. It's for that reason we got rid of the provision at the Olive PRU, because ultimately, Councillor, I know it was a controversial decision, but when it's lumped into special measures, when we were told it was one of the worst provisions, the answer for this administration wasn't simply, well, does it provide enough places? No, the answer was work with our schools, build a better system, a more inclusive system, and don't just force our children into inadequate provision. We tackle inadequate provision, and we've done a very good job doing so.
Councillor Duffy, we just have a half a minute left.
I'll be as quick as I can. On the 15th of June, a press release was sent out saying, and I quote, "All rugby pitches and facilities will be retained. The Council have now accepted this is wrong, and they cannot second-guess these conversations, including all 9 pitches being retained. Despite this, the Council is refusing to issue a retraction and apologise for their own error. Will you please get the Council to apologise and publicly clear up this error?"
Councillor Howden, we've come to the end of our 30 minutes. Councillor Duffy, can we give you a written reply?
I want to reply.
Well, we've gone past the 30 minutes. We're allocated. I'd rather you send a written response, because we are keeping to time in the chamber. We've been so many months without any proper timing in this chamber, and all of us need to get to grips with the questioning that we do in a succinct fashion, the answers we give in a succinct fashion. So can I ask you please to sum up in 2 minutes, please, Councillor Howden?
Okay, well, as part of my 2 minute summing up, I'll very briefly say to Councillor Duffin that we are going through formal consultation now, but we need to look at the positives of this scheme. There is a great future for the rugby club with the school, but the reason we are not going to accept delay is because there is consequence of delay. There is consequence to students when they don't have places. There's consequence to the taxpayer when they have to shell out for temporary accommodation. There's consequences for parents who have to drive their children all across the borough because there's not enough places. There's consequences for communities who have to endure constant building work. There's consequences for schools who don't have certainty. We're going to get on with the job. The school's working well with the rugby club, and formal agreements we can hammer out at the planning stage, and that's important. And summing up, Madam Mayor, one thing that I would like to point out, because we do have to make difficult decisions in this chamber, in terms of one of the bigger things that we did, children's centre reform, registration up 6%, the amount of sessions delivered to children up 36%. But what I want to remind members is, out of the savings, 100% achieved with 0 corporate complaints. You can do big things if you take political will. Madam Mayor, I've enjoyed answering questions. If members have further questions, please feel free to write to me. after 2 years doing this job, you do feel the strain and feel your age after a while. It was recently pointed out to me that when I was elected in 2010, as one of the youngest councillors in the country, now Councillor Anderson was only 8 years old at the time. So if that makes you feel your age, that is not, so it's not just the pressure of doing this job, it is actually physically ageing. But with that, Madam Mayor, thank you very much for your time and indulgence.